Hello, welcome to Focus on the Family's live Facebook session tonight, and we're gonna have three special guests join me. My name is Gary, and I'll be your host this evening. We had some technical difficulties, so thank you for staying by us to listen to what's going on. But today's topic is what young people wish their parents knew about mental health issues. I have this evening three lovely guests, Gwen, Shutin, and Sean, and they are young people they all have interesting stories that they have gone through, and I'd like them just to introduce a little about themselves, starting with our youngest person on tonight's chat. That's Sean. Maybe introduce a little about yourselves.
Okay, hi. I'm Sean. I'm 17 this year. I am currently training as a competitive swimmer in sports school, and I'm studying business in Niam Poly. Also, I love playing FIFA, although it gets me mad sometimes. But like I'm an Arsenal fan, so go Gunners! If any of you guys are Arsenal fans, but yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean. Then let's proceed to Gwen.
Hi, I'm Gwen. I'm 18. I'm currently studying ACSI and I'm taking my IB exams in about 1 week's
Then
time.
let's proceed to Gwen.
I love um, I love watching Korean drama, yeah, and hanging out with
Wow,
friends.
me too. Thanks, Gwen. Shutin.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Shi Jing. I'm 23 this year, and I'm currently studying in university. So, one thing about me would be that I like rainbows because they are colorful, and yeah, I can just stare at them like all day. Yeah.
And the past few days has been so hot, so we've been praying for rainbows to come from rain. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Today's topic is obviously youth mental health, and the three of you, like I mentioned earlier, have a powerful story, a journey that you've gone through, maybe are still going through, and it's something that I think parents really need to be aware of, and other young people, or whichever stage of life they are tuning in. I think they will be greatly blessed just hearing your own journey. So perhaps we can just start with Shujin, your own journey in the whole area of mental health. But I want to say thank you so much for just choosing to be open for tonight's session with us.
Yeah. Think for myself, personally, I've been through mental health challenges. Yeah, so when I was 13, I was diagnosed with anorexia, which is a type of eating disorder. Yeah, so I was um, I was suffering from that um, throughout my secondary school years. Yeah, and eventually I was discharged when I was 16. Yeah, so I never had a relapse ever since. Um, yeah. So okay, I think how it started was um, uh, it just started from a genuine desire to want to lose weight. Yeah, because when I was younger, I was quite chubby. Yeah, and yeah, and I guess like at the age of 13, youths are at the stage whereby we are still discovering a lot about ourselves and finding out who we are. So we tend to be a little more self-conscious and we care more about what people think and say of us. So that was the same for me as well. I cared a lot about what people thought of me. Yeah, so at that time when people started telling me that like, maybe I should lose some weight, like I'm getting a bit fatter, like those comments affected me. I took them to heart lah. Yeah, so um I thought that okay, maybe if I'm skinnier then people would love me more. Yeah, so I decided to um go on a journey of losing weight. And initially um it started off with just cutting down the amount of food that I eat, exercising a bit more. And I think after a few weeks of doing that, I saw the results. Like I managed to lose weight and it made me feel good. Yeah. And so I thought like, okay, maybe I should continue doing that. Yeah. So I continued with it. I cut down a lot more food. I exercised a lot more. And but slowly it just came to a point where I felt like I lost control. yeah, I started feeling very afraid of gaining back the weight that I've lost. Even though I was already very skinny, like I really lost a lot of weight, and like I'm left with kind of like just skin and bones. But I was very afraid to eat. Yeah, I felt that if I eat, I'm gonna gain weight. If I stop exercising, I'm gonna gain back the weight that I've lost. So it was just like there was this irrational fear, but I couldn't shake the fear off me. Yeah. So now, so of course, like people started becoming concerned, but then I was kind of in denial. So people around me could see that something was not right, but I myself felt that there was nothing wrong. Yeah, until there was this day where I really felt so weak and so tired. I was so afraid that I won't be able to wake up the next day. So that was when I decided to seek help. Yeah, so I told my mom that I wanted to go to the hospital, and that was how I was diagnosed with the eating disorder. Mm, yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing your own journey and your openness and transparency. I'm just curious when you said that night when you didn't know whether you'd wake up again, was that the turning point for you?
Mm, yeah, kind of. It's like I think uh, all the while I thought I didn't have any problems. I thought I could just resolve all this on my own. It will just slowly go away. Yeah, until that particular night where I felt that I really couldn't do it on my own anymore, and I really needed like professional help. So that was the time when I started to seek treatment. Yeah. Mm.
Right. So I mean, so the signs were quite obvious to the people around you. Did your family ever mention anything?
Mm. Yeah, like because I wasn't eating as much, and then I really lost a lot of weight. So I think at that time, even though I didn't share with my parents what was going through internally, but on the outside, they could see that something is not right. Yeah. Mm,
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jane. So,
mm.
thank you for your sharing openness. Yeah. Let's hear from Gwen. We'll come back to you all on some other questions, but let's just hear from Gwen.
Hi, so actually before I start, I would just like to thank all the parents. Thank you for being here. Not for us, but really for your children. And the fact that you're already here shows how deeply you care for them. And I know that parents are almost 100% unappreciated. So on behalf of every kid out there, thank you, really. So actually, my story is just very simple. I was just 13 years old, and I was struggling to make friends in school. I was getting bullied a lot, and actually during this point of time in Sec 1, I my family had a little bit of domestic violence happening, and this was the point of time when my family was the most fragmented. Yeah, so I confided in a friend who had depression in school, and she told me to start small, like just a pair of scissors. So I began to release all of this anger and hatred through cutting myself. Yeah, and I'll slit my wrist all the time. Until one day when I accidentally ran a sharpener blade, just a blade from tiny sharpener across my wrist, and everything just exploded. Um, so I was called to the principal's office after that, and for the last 2 weeks or so, I have very good rapport with my school teachers. And I asked them, I begged them to keep it a secret from my parents. I come from a family of 5 kids, and I'm the fourth, so I tend to be quite independent. But I think during that point of time when I was just entering adolescence, that was when I subconsciously needed my parents' attention, to see me grow up during this time. And the biggest irony is this: I wanted my parents to notice me the most when I wanted to attract attention the least. And so it actually took me about like a year and a half or so to just get through this depression and to basically stop self-harming. Yeah, actually, I stopped in Sec 2. Yeah, about 1 year later, because it got to a point where um, the counselor was telling me that if I didn't stop, I would have to go on pills, and my parents would have to be in the know. And I once again, I try to be as independent as possible. So the moment I realized that my parents will definitely know about it, I really didn't want to let them know. Yeah, and so I stopped completely. Yeah, I just willed myself to stop.
Okay. So Gwen, your motivation for stopping was I don't want my folks to know what's going on in my life.
Sorry?
For you, your motivation for stopping was I don't want my parents to know and I don't want to be on any medication.
Actually, the day that my parents found out that I was cutting, my mom was on the phone and she was so angry. She threatened to bring the cane and everything. But after she talked to the school counselor, she actually told me that she had faced depression before and some other family issues, and that really broke my heart because I never realized that my mom could be going through the same thing as me, and when she has so many children and she's going through such a tough time, I felt so sorry and I just felt like I really wanted to. At a point of time, I just wanted, even if it came at this at with my own sacrifices, I just wanted to be there to support my parents and everything. And I just present myself as least of a problem as I can to them. Yeah.
Wow, thanks. Just even in my work counseling, I think that's a common comment that I hear from the young people. I don't want to trouble my parents because they seem to have their own problems already. They're struggling already. They have arguments and quarrels, or maybe they have challenges with their other siblings. I don't want to trouble them, and as a result, I keep it. It's not because I want to be secretive, but because I just don't want to trouble them. Yeah, and it's not an easy thing altogether because parents want to know. Yet sometimes as parents, even for me as a parent of a teenager, we communicate that I've got so much problems already. Don't add another load on my shoulder. And as parents, for parents tuning in, please realize that our young people, our children really care for us, and that sometimes that's one of the reason why they don't share what's going on in their lives because they care for us. Yeah, but for all of us listening, I think one thing to remember is family is about going through struggles together.
Yeah.
Yeah, marriage is about me and my wife going through difficulties. Even though I don't like it, we go through it. My child goes through, we go through it all together as one. And that's what a real family does together. Yeah, thanks, Gwen, for sharing. Let's go on to Mr. Arsenal fan there, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I just want to say before I start, like I want to thank all of you guys for sharing because I think that's super brave, of every single one of you guys. Yeah, and so I'm just gonna say like my piece. So for me, like the main problem was actually anxiety, because I'm a swimmer, right? And then so it was kind of related to my swimming. So it all began when like I joined the sports school when I was 13, and so like some history with me and swimming. I only joined swimming because like I have asthma, and like so doctor said it will help me, and so it wasn't really my first choice sport,
Mm.
right? And so but then like people saw potential, and then like I got into the sports school, and so like I continued training from there, and then further on I got accepted into a program where like I will have to like do do my polytechnic in sports school and continue training, right? And so like I really it came to a point that I hated swimming so much, and like every single time I would go to the pool and I would like it was just like pain and suffering for me. Like I would just feel like I'm this endless loop of suffering whenever I go to the pool, because if you guys also like some context, swimming is actually a very lonely sport if you guys don't know. Like it's you in the water, and then like you can't really talk to your friends, unlike track and field or like unlike other sports, right? And so like it's just you panting, you only hear your heart beating, you panting, and just like it's just that every single day, and you feel like because you use the entire body for swimming, and so like it's very very painful. I mean, I'm not discouraging anybody to swim here. Swimming is a great sport, it's a great exercise, but like when you do competitively, it's a whole new level, you know what I mean? And so definitely like there was this like very negative association with my pain in swimming, and so like, I started to hate the sport a lot, and in training I'll get anxiety attacks. Yeah, and like I didn't know it was anxiety until like my mom, who's a therapist and a counselor, she like pointed that out to me, like she just like told me that, hey, you're showing signs of anxiety, and that's I think earlier this year, and then I decided to go and like see a therapist myself. And so yeah, that was actually the turning point, and I just opened up to my parents. I'm usually not very like I'm not one to open up to my parents and just tell them everything, but like when I started to see things that were getting out of control, like I wasn't able to like like in training I'll just like have a total mental breakdown, and like I couldn't control anything, and so like that's when I decided to go and get the help that I need. Yeah. So
Thanks, Sean. So what was that point when you finally said, I think I better let my parents know?
actually it was after one church service, like I think because it's online during COVID-19, right? And so like I just let my parents know. Like I don't know why I felt like opening up that night, but I just told them everything. Like it also comes with a lot of other problems, but that the main problem was me not liking swimming, and I just felt that I needed to let them know because like I like similarly to like the other people here, I felt that I couldn't go on anymore by myself. Like the pain and suffering was too much, to for me to bear by myself and like not tell anybody. And I'm also one to who tends to bottle things up and like explode later. So yeah, that was kind of why also. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Good sharing.
Thanks.
I think you brought up a very powerful point about opening up, and that's where maybe we will just go into the direction. What is the thing that you feel young people, why young people have difficulty opening up to their parents?
Mm.
And I mean, it doesn't even have to be mental health issues; it can be anything. But why? Since parents, we know parents, at least most parents want to have a good relationship, but there's this wall. What are some thoughts?
Mm.
Should I go first?
Sure, let's go ahead.
Okay. I think for myself at that time, I had some difficulties sharing with I had quite a lot of difficulties sharing with my parents what happened. Yeah, because I think firstly was that we weren't really close at the start. Like when I was 13, I didn't really have a very close relationship with my parents. Yeah, I think I come from a quite traditional family, so my parents are not very expressive in showing love towards my brother and I. Yeah, but I think um, when I was younger, I always yearned for that kind of like for them to tell me that they love me, they're proud of me. Yeah, but wasn't really getting much of that at home. Yeah, so and then I think I was also like quite a naughty child, so I always get scolded. Yeah, so that made me feel a bit like I think at that period of time I felt that my parents were biased towards my brother and they love my brother more than me. So I think um not having that close relationship with them actually hindered me to open up to them, yeah, to share with them about what I was going through. Yeah, but I think another thing was also because I didn't know how to share, because I think at that point in time there was just a lot of things going on internally. Like I think I myself didn't know how to process through those thoughts. So I think it was both like I didn't want to share because I didn't feel close enough to share, and also I didn't know how because it's just too much to process on my own, and I don't know how to express it out. Yeah, so I felt like those were the two things for me.
Okay, thanks, Regine. The rest?
Okay, maybe I'll go. So for me, I think it was kind of like, okay, similar to Shajin. I think that I was never really close to my parents. The reason is still unknown to me. I really don't know why we grew so far apart. But I think part of it was because my mom, um, she was what you call a tiger mom when I was young. You know, like when I was young. So like not the worst tiger mom lah, but she was a tiger mom, and like so I would constantly get scolded, and so like I felt that I like that was the reason why like I didn't want to share any problems with her, because the fear of like just getting scolded, like you open up to them and then they immediately scold you. So like you're like, oh man, why? Right. So like that was kind of why I did not really open up to my parents. But things changed, and like attitudes change, and like I think there was where like I decided, to open up. Yeah.
And for you, when you finally did open up, I mean, a few months ago,
Yeah.
Was the response, because I'm sure you must have been afraid, like, oh no, if I share this, they're gonna see something that they'll just, it's not gonna be helpful.
Yeah.
What was the response like this time around?
Actually, at that time I felt like I had a fever because my there's so much blood in my face, and so like I was like just telling them, and like I like their response was so much better than I expected. Like I really did not like expect them to be so nice with me. I thought they were scolding me, but like yeah, but it was really like unexpected, and I'm really thankful for that. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. I think you also brought up thing that we hear very often, and working with the young people, that they are afraid of being scolded.
Yeah.
And it's quite strange, right? Because um, it's something that we need to speak, but there's this fear for whatever reasons, and the scolding just tends to stand out a lot. And while we need to share, we are afraid to share. So there's this
Mm,
constant battle and struggle. Yep.
yeah.
Thanks, Sean. Gwen.
Oh, for me, I think it's for just from personal experience and from seeing how my siblings have grown up also. I think teenagers are so weird. I think that like for one thing, um I think that teenagers are very awkward with their parents, me myself included. And like I said, being the fourth out of the fifth, out of five children, I tend to keep my problems to myself. And I come from a family where we are all very stoic. We all try to be independent, and sometimes I feel like it goes very well, especially for the boys. My three brothers, they are very very independent, but for me and my sister, I think for me, one problem that I have is that I have a very big irony in my life, which is that I tend to be um, most awkward with my parents when I want them to notice me the most and notice that I have problems. Yeah, so that's how I show that I have problems. There was this point in my life, actually this year, nearing my prelim period, when I was having a bit of issues in school because I was getting bullied a bit, and I completely shut myself out from my parents completely, because my parents were scolding me for some very small thing at that time, but it just everything just crashed on me, and I showed very obvious signs. I didn't talk to my dad. I didn't eat at all for like a few days, and I lost a lot of weight. And that's how my parents found out. And when my parents talked to me, that's when I also broke down. So I feel like sometimes teenagers, we are very very weird people. We like to express our need for attention in such non non attention but attention seeking ways, which is completely okay. Yeah, I think it's just part of growing up, lah.
Yep, definitely. I think all of us were teenagers. This is a period where we were finding ourselves and knowing what works. Because what worked for Gwen may not work for Sean or Sujin. It's all of us going to go through a little different journey.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
there's one thing that's definitely I'm hearing from y'all is the role of family, lah. How parents, whether they're close to us, not so close to us. I mean, it sounds like regardless of your own family background, you could have really great, awesome parents, yet we can, as teenagers, still struggle and not feel like I want to share with my parents, even though they may be excellent parents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, a little back to the what we said earlier. Sometimes it's because I don't want to trouble them, because I love them. I don't want to add more trouble to them, so I'm handling this on my own. Yet I will still remember this young person that didn't want to trouble her parents because she was going through a period of just great anxiety and almost to the point of just breaking down constantly. And I asked her this: how come you're not willing to talk to your parents? And she said, I don't want to trouble them. Then I asked her this: if you were a mother and your daughter was going through this, how would you feel that knowing that your daughter is struggling and you never knew about it? And
Mm.
then suddenly, and then she realized that as a parent, even though I may be going through crap, I still want to know what's going on in my child's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it sort of changed lah. So maybe something that you just a message to other young people like yourselves. How can they bring up a topic like this to their parents? Because all of you somehow mastered that, your guts to even do so. What would your message be to other young people?
Maybe I'll take this question first. But okay, before I say like how I'm gonna say that like the way I told my parents about like my mental health like problems was not the best way, and you guys shouldn't learn from me. But like I actually went out of my room with full confidence. Don't know how I got the confidence, but I just went there and say like, guys, I need to tell you something," and like they all were like shocked because of my like energy. It's like suddenly I had a lot of energy, and then I said like, I need to tell you something, and like I just blurted everything out within like 30 minutes. I don't think you guys should do that unless I don't know if you're a very extroverted person maybe. But I think you should always prep them, like say like can we have a conversation, or like can I speak to you about something serious, so that you kind of set the set the tone of the conversation, and like, so they don't start making jokes when you want to be talk serious. But also like I think it's very important to go straight into the problem and not beat around the bush. Yeah, because yeah, I know it's very hard to not like to it's very easy to avoid saying the actual problem, but that's like the real thing that would like help you. You know, like by telling them immediately like what you feel is the immediate problem, like they will like this will like I don't know synergize the conversation, and like it will maximize its efficiency. You know. Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
The others? You got
Okay.
something to share? Go ahead.
Um, yeah. Um, I think like what would help me at that time, because I found it a bit hard to share with my parents. Yeah, so I thought what would help me at that time would be um mm, like I guess similar to you guys, like one of the fear that I had was also cause I'm afraid that when I shared I will get scolded. I think usually like Asian parents, maybe the first response is to scold first, then to show concern later. Yeah, but usually I found that whenever I get scolded for something, it builds up even more walls. Yeah, and makes me feel more afraid that if I'm gonna share something but I'm gonna get scolded, then I might as well don't share. So I felt that probably at that time what would help um would be for my parents to show concern by asking whether I'm okay. Yeah, because I think at that time I really felt very difficult. Like it was very difficult to open up. Yeah, but I thought if they maybe if they were to ask if I was okay, and to just assure me that like I can go to them if I need someone to talk to, and they will be there for me. I think that will help me to open up a lot more. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think for
So
me,
effort. Go ahead.
oh sorry,
No.
for me, one thing I'll tell many teenagers my age, and especially in secondary school, when you're just starting to find out yourself and you want to be as independent as possible, you don't have to tell your parents everything. You don't have to like fulfill their urge to know you. I mean, you don't have to. You can still be who you are, but never ever for a moment in your life ever doubt your worth in your parents' eyes. Your parents love you very much. They don't show it, Asian parents, they don't show it, but they really do. And I hope that no matter what the parenting style is, never ever doubt your worth in their eyes. The fact that you still live under the same roof as them shows how much they care for you. And you don't have to tell them everything, but just one tiny um, reply, and I'm sure it'll make your parents' day, and it'll really strengthen you as a person as well. Not to be more reliant on your parents, but and not to be the more needy, but um, just to be more confident in yourself. Talking to my parents made me so build my confidence in myself and in other people. And every time I look back to that one day when the school had to force me to call my own parents to tell them that I've cut myself, I every time I think of how my parents cry in that room, feeling so sad and disappointed in themselves, it breaks me so much and it moves me to tears because I just wished I hadn't foolishly thought that I was worthless and unimportant in their eyes. So to any teenager out there, truly, truly, just you are not a burden in your parents' eyes. Your parents love you for who you are, and they want to be a part of your life just to make you feel secure, and you will be happier as a person if you confide in them.
Thanks, Gwen. Thanks to three parents. If you are tuning in, I hope you all are understanding the world that your young person is living, going through. I know for parents, sometimes we parent the way we were parented, and the traditional way of shaming, just to, but loving, but shaming may not quite work in today's day and age, where because often shaming, the scolding, the yelling, there's just some part in us that just equates a lack of love for everyone. So perhaps reducing the the shouting, screaming, maybe shout yourself, maybe it's doing doing something else. But to our children, our words are so powerful. Yeah, just an assurance, just telling a son and your daughter, honey, I love you. I may not always agree with you, and we will have differences, but I love you. I will never trade you for anything in the world. And parents, take time to always assure your children, even though you may have a disagreement at the end, everyone's just upset at the end of the day. Please find time just to assure and affirm one another because it is so powerful in the relationship. uh, just like you mentioned to your friends, what you want them to, how they can say those things to their parents. What is a message you'd like to tell parents to encourage parents in this journey?
I think to parents, once again, uh, thank you so much, really. I say this because I am thankful towards my own parents for raising the five of us up. It's not easy, it's really not. And I think for me, how come like me and my siblings can be so independent, especially outside, is that it's because most of the quarreling, most of the fighting, and most of the family brawls, everything happens within the family. Yeah, it's more politics in the family than there can ever be in Singapore. But that's just for me. And so but never ever assume that your children are 100% resilient and strong and independent. Even if they are saying, even if they say that they are completely fine, it's a lie. Yeah, it's just a lie. Yeah. Never ever assume it. And I know it's tough, but perhaps one encouragement is that in the long term, you know, when your children have grown under your care and guidance and have become more resilient, when they learn to be truly thankful and to truly be grateful for all that you've done. Yeah, it will take a long time, but when the time comes that they truly respect you, not just on Father's Day or your mother's birthday, but every moment, every second of their lives, they will put in the effort to thank you just as much as you have put in the effort to invest in their lives.
Gwen, you mentioned something earlier that don't assume as parents because just because your child seems independent that everything's fine, uh, right? Like don't assume like basically parents don't assume. So how can we encourage parents because the teenage life is also the time when I don't really want to tell my parents everything, yet my parents should know. And so there's this constant conflict. Parents want to know, my child says nothing's wrong, everything's okay, but actually everything's not okay. So as a parent, how can I go further in probing what's really going on that won't drive you crazy?
Okay, so like
Anyone
I think
wants to help answer?
yeah, I'll try. And so like I think as parents, parents must be like they must be proactive, when talking to their children. Like don't just like, oh, how's your day at school, and then they tell you their day at school, and then you're just like, oh, okay, and then you look at your phone. Like so there's no like genuine concern. So I think like the most important thing is genuine concern. And sometimes I learned this from my father. He told me that like when a child is like in the wrong, like 90% of the time, I think they know that they're in the wrong. So don't go and don't go and like guilt trip them someone, right? Like that will just distance your relationship with them, right? And not like, yeah, you just like, I mean, I'm a Christian, so like I think that like because God first loved us, so we can love others. And so like because parents, because yeah, God first loved you, so you can love them. And so like show genuine concern, for your kids, right? And show like genuine love for your children. And don't try not to guilt trip them when they are walking around. And also, like, to end off, like, I'm gonna just say a quote from Matthew Jacobson. Behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believe first, right? And so like that quote means a lot. And so I thought I'd just say it. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. Parents believing in your children and expressing that you believe in them means a lot. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Shooting, you wanted to add something to that? How can parents? What some things that parents can do differently?
Mm, I think sometimes like if like for youth we may not want to share everything. Yeah, and I think like it might make parents a little bit worried, like they want to know, but then we are not sharing, we are not opening up. But usually I find that when we keep things to ourselves, it's also when we find that we can actually manage things on our own and things are okay. Yeah. So if things are more serious, we'll definitely tell our parents and let them know. But if we keep things to ourselves, usually things are still alright. It like we still can manage on our own. Yeah. But like I think even when at times like I don't share with my parents everything, um like I would still love for them to check in on me and like to ask me how am I. Yeah. So like I think like if when they check in on me, like it allows me to know that they really genuinely care and they want to be involved. So if anything happens, I'll find it easier to approach them as well. Yeah. So I think to the parents out there, I just want to say that really like your love and support for your children really means a lot. Like yeah, like your love and support really means the world to us. And yeah, thank you for not giving up on us, even though at times like we make life difficult for you. Yeah, and sometimes we may not reciprocate that same love, but thank you for not giving up on us. Um, and also thank you for just staying so strong for us and building the family. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Can I
think
can I
just
add
being.
something?
Yep. Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry, just to end off, I actually heard of this online from some Singaporean YouTuber, but I think it really holds true. I believe that love in the family starts not between parents and children, but actually between parents. Because when a child learns to grow up in a loving environment, they will learn to naturally love their parents as well and to treat their parents well. Yeah. So I think love actually starts between husband and wife. Yeah.
That's good. It's powerful. Yeah. That's something. I want to encourage every parent listening. Also, your first goal really is to love your spouse. Because like what Gwen mentioned, once there's the stability, the security in the home, it's easier. Not that there are no challenges, but it's just easier for the whole household. But thank you so much, three of you for sharing just valuable insights. I just want to end. I mean, we're going to wrap up today's session already because of time, but the unconditional love that parents we need to keep giving our children, even though they will use us as kicking posts during this period of their lives. Yeah, whether they're not talking anymore. Where I think young people, you must realize the differences the difference that parents encounter when you're in primary school or pre-primary. You talked about everything to your parents, and parents ask, how was your day in school? Wow, you would tell them from recess, everything that went on, the fights, the screaming, what you bought, the everything. And then when you became teenagers, it became a little more secretive. And so parents struggle with the whole idea, like, what's going on? Why is the school making my child like that? Or why is my child, are they doing something secretly? Are they, involved in dangerous activities? Not realizing that it's just a stage of life where you're finding yourselves. So parents, regardless of what's going through, know that it's a stage of life that your precious son and daughter, they're discovering who they are and growing up to be fine adults as well. But we keep giving that unconditional love regardless, even though we don't like it the way they treat us. Give them that love regardless. Yeah. And my friend Rob, on the night before his son's O-level results were out, he told his son and said, "Son, I want you to know one thing. Mom and dad love you just the same, regardless whether you get all F's, all A's. We love you." And then he heard his son talking to his friend. "Well, if I knew my parents thought that way, I wouldn't have worked so hard, man." You know, just it's like constant, because screaming, yelling, sometimes we equate to the lack of love. But parents, love your kids. Tell them you love them. Don't be ashamed or shy or embarrassed to hug them or just hold their hands, even though they may be, ooh, don't touch me. But keep encouraging, keep loving our children. Yeah. Any final words from the three of you? I mean, maybe final words to your own parents. Anything you like for them to hear if they are tuning in.
Thank you, mom and dad, for listening to me and genuine care and concern. It means a lot, and I don't know whether I still be in the same place today if it weren't for you guys.
Right, I like that. Gwen or Shujin, anything?
Yeah, I will tell my mom, thank you for not giving up on me. Yeah, because I think that time when I was going through all that, it was very difficult for her, or I make life very difficult for her. Yeah, but then like her choosing to press on and to keep loving me in the best way that she can really helped a lot, and it was a turning point in my relationship with her as well. So thank you, mommy. Yeah.
Hi, mom. Hi, dad. I know you are not on this call, so it doesn't matter. I know I'm the best child in the family. Even if you think otherwise, I'm very competitive. But thank you for everything. I know sometimes I don't take first place, but it's okay. It's okay because I know it's tough to raise the five of us up. So really, thank you and thank God for everything you have done. And I know I'm the best child.
All of you all are unique. You all are the best. Well, thank you so much for joining us, all our listeners there, all our people watching our Facebook live show. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've benefited and just been blessed by the testimony of these three young people just sharing their journey with all of us, whether you're a parent, whether you're a young person, whether you're married, single, your life is so precious and so valuable. All right. That's it. That's a wrap. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.